But I wanted to come on here and show y'all a recipe that I used to make years ago all the time, and it is such a special recipe to me, and it's for strawberry bread. And I know that the strawberries right now are really amazing. They're so beautiful. So I wanted to do something with strawberries, and this is the most delicious strawberry bread, and it has this amazing strawberry spread that you spread over the slices once it's done. So I'm gonna show y'all how to make that right now. So I have 3 cups of frozen strawberries that I have let thaw, and now I'm gonna drain those into my colander, and I'm gonna need to get out a half a cup of the strawberry juice. So I'm just gonna mash those around a little bit, see if I can get out at least a half a cup of the strawberry juice. And these are sliced strawberries. So I'm hoping that gives us a half a cup. Looks like it's still coming out. I don't want to mash up my strawberries too much, but I do have to have that half a cup of juice. So let me see. I'm just going to put my half cup measuring cup over here. And this might be a little bit of a mess the way that I have done this, but I'm just going to pour that in. And this juice is actually for our spread that I was telling you about, that's going to be made to spread over the top of the strawberry slices. So that actually looks pretty perfect to me. So that's about 1/4 cup, just what we need. I'm going to put this back over this for just a minute, because I also do not want my strawberries to be too terribly wet. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of a mesh with a paper towel. I just don't want the strawberries to be too wet when I put it into the bread, because it kind of makes it a little bit too wet of a bread. So, all right, so I've got those done. I'm gonna sit those to the side. And then I've got a little bit more juice here, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that in too. Probably would have been better if I had done it over a large bowl, but I just didn't want to mess up another large bowl that I was gonna have to wash. So this works, it's gonna be fun. All right, so I've got my 1/4 cup of juice. And now I'm just going to wipe this down a little bit, because I've made a little bit of a mess here. And then we're going to start on our dry ingredients. So I'm going to move this over here to where I have everything for my delicious strawberry spread. So I'm going to grab my big bowl, and to that we are going to add our first 5 dry ingredients. And that's 3 cups of all-purpose flour. And then I've got 2 cups of sugar. I've got 1 cup already measured out here. Just gonna grab 1 more cup of sugar. And y'all were asking me, a couple of people have asked me about these really cool measuring cups. And these are the ones that I told you that my friend Brandy gave to me. So I'm gonna ask her where she got those, because I love them too. They are so cool. So we've got our 2 cups of sugar in there. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay, now that's all of our dry ingredients, and I'm just gonna give that a good whisk. And this bread is so delicious. It's different. It's like no other bread that I've ever had, because it just has that good strawberry flavor. And I've seen people add a banana in here too, but I just love for the strawberries to be the star of the show. Okay, so that looks really good and mixed, and I'm gonna start adding in our wet ingredients. So I usually just give that a good whisk. And Okay, so I've got 1 cup of oil here. Just gonna add that in. I've got 4 eggs. It does take a lot of eggs, but just makes it fluffier. I'm hoping I did not drop a piece of egg shell in there. I don't think I did. I think I'm good. Okay, so 2 more eggs. Okay. And now I'm going to I'm going to give this a good mix first, and then we will fold in our strawberries. My kids used to love this. I love it. I just think it's wonderful. Okay, so just make sure that's good and stirred really good. And it's a little bit of a drier mix until you add your strawberries, and then it gets a little bit more better to work with. Okay, just gonna give that a really good mix. Make sure it's all mixed in there really good. And now I'm gonna fold in my wonderful strawberries. And I have never made this. The recipe calls for frozen strawberries, but you could probably use your fresh strawberries. You would probably just need to puree some of those to make sure you get your juice, because you do have to have the juice to make the topping for it. So let me just make sure I have everything in here. Our eggs, our oil, the strawberries. Okay, I think we have everything. So now our strawberries will go in here. And this will make it a little bit more of a wet consistency, which will be easier to work with. Okay, so I'm gonna mix that up really good. And this calls for me to use 2 loaf pans, but I'm embarrassed to say that I don't even own 2 loaf pans. I have one, but I'm going to use a different pan for my other loaf. Okay, oh my gosh, the smell, it smells so delicious. So strawberry, yum. And you can still see the big pieces of strawberry in there. And I like that. I don't want it to be too mashed up. I want the strawberries to have a little bit of substance in there so we can still really get a good bite of the strawberries. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to take my loaf pan, and I'm going to give that a good spray. And I'll bring my spray out here. Let me grab it. Give this a good spray. And then I'm going to pour about half of the batter in there. And I've got this big old bowl that's kind of hard to handle again. You're going to fill that about 2/3 of the way up. So about like this is plenty. And then I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to get a smaller pan than that one. I think that was a little bit big. I think this one should do better. All right, so I'm going to spray that one. This one seems like it would be the perfect size for me to eat myself. So I think that worked out perfectly, actually. And I have my oven heating to 375. That's what it calls for. When I come back, I'll let you know exactly how long it cooks for. And y'all, today I spent the time and used all the ingredients to show y'all how to make the most amazing meatloaf. And somehow my video in the middle of the taping went to slow motion, so it totally messed up the whole video. So I'm gonna do that again for y'all tomorrow because I really want y'all to taste this meatloaf. It's so good. So I'm gonna redo that for y'all again tomorrow. I hated that happened. Okay. So I've got both of these all ready to go in the oven. And I promise you, I could just eat this batter right out of the bowl. It is so delicious. Okay, so I'm gonna bake these at 375. I'll let you know how long I baked them for. And then when we come back, we're gonna make the delicious topping. And it's made with cream cheese and your strawberry juice and your powdered sugar. So that right there should just tell you how delicious it's gonna be. So y'all, I'll be right back as soon as these are done, and I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so our smaller loaf that I put in the smaller pan took about 40 minutes to cook, but the one that is in the loaf pan is actually still in the oven because that will probably take around an hour to cook. So sometimes if you just want to cook it in like a 9x13 pan, you can put the whole thing in there and it actually cooks a lot faster. So now I'm going to show you how to make the delicious icing glaze that's going to go over the top. Excuse me, I have already softened 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese in my bowl. And I've kind of stirred that around a little bit just to get it a little bit softer. I'm going to add in that 1/2 cup of strawberry juice that we reserved from our strawberries and 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. So I'm just going to stir that in really good. And while I make this, I'm hoping that this one cools enough so that I can taste it. So this makes just a really delicious glaze. It has cream cheese, so you know it's going to be delicious. So I'm just going to give that a good stir. I might grab my whisk and see if I can get that to do a little bit better, because it's got that cream cheese in there, and that takes a little bit more of a whisking than just a stirring. So I'm gonna whisk that really good until that cream cheese is all good and combined in there. This smells so good too. Delish. This spread is actually a little bit better when you let it cool in the refrigerator for a little bit, but I'm just gonna kind of show y'all what it looks like on one of the slices. Still gonna taste really amazing though, but it does set up and become a little bit more firm, more like an icing or a butter once you leave it in your fridge for a little bit. Okay, so that looks good and mixed up and smells amazing, like I said. Yum. I'm excited to taste this one. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my knife and I'm just gonna kind of cut a piece. I don't prefer the end pieces of cakes and stuff much. I like more of the middle slice. And that is an awfully big slice that I have cut myself. But that's okay. All right, so you can see our delicious strawberry bread here. And I'm just gonna take some of this delicious icing spread and I'm gonna put over the top of it. And I like a lot of it. And it does actually make a lot of the spread. So you're gonna have plenty. And it will be better once it sets up. A little bit more. Can't have too much of that delicious cream cheese strawberry icing on there. Okay, So now, let me grab a spoon. Taste it. Look how delicious that looks. And this seems like it might be from the video, or it might look like it's kind of complicated. It is not at all. It is so easy. You already have most of these ingredients in your kitchen. You might not have the frozen strawberries, but pretty much other than that, you have everything that you need most of the time in your kitchen. Oh my word. That's probably one of the best things I have tasted in a really long time. That icing just makes it. I mean, the cream cheese. And it's got like a cinnamony taste in the cake, but you can still taste the strawberries. Yum. You know, next time, I was thinking when I make this, I'm gonna do it exactly the same, but I think I might add like a half a cup or so of just chopped fresh strawberries. And I think that would give you even more of a bite of the strawberries. So my goodness, y'all, try this because it is amazing. It is so good. And y'all be watching for the video on the meatloaf that I tried to make earlier. So I'm gonna make that again for y'all. So y'all be looking for that. And try this one, please. You're gonna love it. Thank y'all so much for watching. Have a good night, and I will see y'all soon. Bye, everybody. Yum.